Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you how to calculate the mean, median, and standard deviation of data in a Google Sheet and how to make a histogram and then to do a comparison. So in this particular spreadsheet, I have the heights of women in feet listed. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to calculate the mean, median, and standard deviation for this data. And then you'll notice the data is repeated, but there's an outlier. So there's a woman who is 6'3" included. And we're going to look at the effect of that outlier on our data. So I'm going to come over here to mean, and there's a few ways you can do this, but I'm going to click the cell in the sheet, and I'd like to insert a function, and I'd like to do the mean, which we know is average. So I can get it over here. I can also go into statistical formulas. You can see there are many, many statistical formulas, and I can calculate average here. So I click average, and then they want you to select the range. So while the cursor is between the parentheses, I'm going to click on my cell A1. And the trick is to do shift and then the down arrow. I'm sorry, shift control down, and it'll select the entire range, and then you hit enter. All right, so we just calculated the mean of that data. Now I'd like to do the median. Another way you can do a formula is to type equal and then start to type the word median. And look at that, it comes right up. So I'm going to hit enter. And again, it wants you to select the range. So I'm going to click in cell A3, shift control down, enter. And then I can do the same thing for standard deviation. You can hit equals, standard, and you can see STDEV is coming up. We're actually doing standard deviation of a population. So we'll just pick the S. So I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to hit click the top cell, shift control down, and I'm calculating my values. Now I can come over here and I can do shift 1, 2, 3 to the right, and then do control C. And now I'm going to come over here into J2. So J2, and I'm going to do control V. But look at that, my calculations are exactly the same. So that's suspicious to me, but if you look here, this is going from H3 to H15, but my data goes down to H16. So I'm gonna have to adjust that. So I'm gonna click in here and change that to reference H16, and the number does change. Same thing here, so I'm gonna change that 5 to a 6. And same thing here, so I'm gonna take H15 and change it to H16. And you'll notice there is a big jump in the standard deviation. All right, the next thing that I'd like to do is I'm going to do shift control down, and I would like to insert a chart. And I would like to do a histogram chart. So you can look, and you might have to do a little bit of scrolling to select that if it doesn't come up automatically. Mine did, and I can drag it over to the right area, and then these handles here allow you to size everything. And you can kind of look at our histogram, which we've been talking about in our class. And then I can do the same thing here. So shift, control down, insert a chart. All right, and you can see I'm referencing the right cells. It's always a good idea to make sure that your data is accessing the right part. Okay, and now before we talk about an analysis here, I would like to, well, I'll make this one a little bit bigger. I would like to make my spreadsheet look a little nicer. So what I'm going to do is come over here, and I'm going to do shift control down again. And I'm going to do format alternating colors. You can pick any color that you want, but I'm just going to do this teal color because it's the first color listed. All right, and then I can do that again over here to give my mean, median, and standard deviation the same view. So I'm going to click that. Oh, it doesn't like that. Let's try again. So I come over here, maybe format alternating colors. and then I can click it and hit done. And then you can do the same thing here. So shift control down, insert, format, alternating colors. I'm picking the teal. And then finally I can do this here and pick any color that you want. So if you want to get a little bit more creative with other things, there's lots of different formatting that you can choose, and then done. All right, couple other things. Your numbers in here, it's sometimes nice to have more decimal places or less. So right now we're showing 2 decimal places, but you can adjust that here and here. So if you wanted one is probably not enough. You certainly can do 3 decimal places. 2 is kind of a nice way to do that. But it's also really nice. I'm going to select these cells here when you have borders around all of your data. So I'm going to do that here and here. So I'd like to see those borders. All right, and then there's one last thing that we need to do. We need to look at our data and say what's happening with our data. So we had a bunch of women here. Another thing you can do is you can count. If I came over here, I can do equals and then a count, and then it'll tell you how many data values you had. So if I come over here, I have 13 data values, and then over here I would have 14 because I have that one extra outlier. So we're looking at 13 women and then 14 women, and you can see here that the median did not change, but the mean increased and then the standard deviation increased a lot. And you can see that also here, this distribution is relatively normal, and here the outlier is making this data become right skewed. So you're going to give some type of observation. You can give more than one if you want, but we can say that the 6'3" woman is an outlier. Her data value increases the mean and standard deviation of the second data set. Okay, and then another thing you can do here is you could always, I was going to say we can do a wrap text, but maybe it's better just leaving that the way it is. So in this video, we looked at calculating mean, median, and standard deviation. We did that for 2 sets of data, one with an outlier. We calculated the history, not calculated, but we figured out how to include histograms, and we did an analysis. Thank you for watching.